All right, what's up, government people? All right, so now we're going to start chapter two. As we finished chapter one, we talked about the theories of power. We also talked about how the democratic participation happens in those three models. So, now we're going to jump into chapter two. And, with the AP curriculum, we really need to focus on a lot of documents. And this is going to be the start of it. But don't worry, we're going to spread a lot of documents out over the course, so to make it less cumbersome for everybody. But just know that, part of government, we got to tackle some documents because we will see them show up on the FRQs on the AP test, especially in the argumentative essay. So we're going to have to know them so we can argue them. And then they might show up through the multiple choice as well. So hang with me. That we are going to be a little document heavy on the front, but like I said, we're going to start spreading these documents out throughout the year again, so it's just not all that bad. So as we jump into chapter two, all right, so we got to start making our way towards the government we have today. So the road to the Constitution. That's what we're looking at today, people. So if we look at the origins of the Constitution, it seeds of the revolution between 1607 and 1776, right? So we go back to all the first English settlements, Jamestown, Roanoke, all those ones, as people were coming from Europe, settling, but a lot of the colonists that, came from Great Britain were so proud to be British subjects. They loved being a part of the monarchy. They were so happy. But as we know, there was conflicts in Europe, like 100-Year Wars and things like that took place, where England is fighting France and, all these different wars going on. And, this is post-Enlightenment. So as we start to see these Enlightenment ideas flying through all the countries in Europe, and now they're coming over to all the different colonies, in this age of imperialism. But we're going to start to see a shift from the British identity to an American identity or an American state, right? So as all these colonists are settling here, just like everything else, all good things got to end. And that's what happened. Like with the colonists from 1649 to 1660 were ignored during the English Civil War. So, the English got rid of their monarchy. They beheaded one of their kings, I believe it's King Charles II. They set up a military dictatorship with Oliver Cromwell. That happened, but then they didn't like that. So then they're like, we're comfortable. Let's go back to the monarchy. So they call William and Mary. So they come back and they start ruling, and that's where they start, they signed in 1688, they signed to be a constitutional monarchy, which pretty much stripped a lot of the power away from the king or queen. That's why today, they're more of just a figurehead. They don't really have any true power. The power lies in the parliament. But that took centuries to happen in England. But it won't happen that long. It won't take that long in the United States. So also, as the colonists are here, they're settling lands, they're fighting the French out of Canada, and then they're also, fighting with the Native Americans, and they cause what we call the 7 Years' War, or the French and Indian War, where the French and Indians fought the colonists. Well, the British monarchy had to send troops over, they had to put down the French and the Indians, and, so therefore it was like, whoa, somebody's going to pay for this war. Who's going to pay for it? Well, you are the colonists. We're going to start taxing you. And so this was like the beginning of the end, as they start taxing them. They, the stamp tax, the Intolerable Acts, all these different acts go in place that start taxing the colonists. They didn't like that. The Intolerable Acts, like, hey, we're going to tax paper, paint, lead, glass, tea, all the essential things that you need. And it was like, well, you don't tax our tea, right? So we know eventually that's going to lead to like the Boston Tea Party and all this. And they were not represented in Parliament. The colonists had no say to defend themselves from any of these taxes. So that started that no representation or no taxation without representation, that whole bit. Well, that's where this comes from. And then eventually, the colonists just got fed up. And again, they loved being British citizens, but it came to a point, these Enlightenment ideas, John Locke, all of them flying through the air, they're reading about them, talking about them. And then so in 1776, the colonists decided to do one of the greatest things in history is they decided to write the greatest breakup letter ever. So we call this the Declaration of Independence. That's how I like to look at it. It's the greatest breakup letter ever written. If you've ever broke up with somebody, you're like, well, I don't like you anymore. Here's why. They give them a list of reasons. Same thing, right? They basically say like, hey, we're breaking up. We need to break up. Here's why we're going to break up. And here's a list of reasons of things that you need to work on. Right. So this is how this document is designed, So when you guys are sitting back, listening to modern day themes and whatnot, music, I I laugh because, they wrote the Declaration of Independence saying, hey, we are going to declare independence from you. It's just like every single Taylor Swift song you have out there. And so you get the point. The Declaration of Independence. So it was written by a committee of 5 people, mostly by Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson drew the short straw because he was the youngest guy at the meeting where they just said, hey, we need to declare independence. And so, the document was completed on July 2nd. It was finally signed by John Hancock on July 4th, 1776. Boom, we're breaking up. Here it is. We're gone. So this is where they met in Independence Hall in Philadelphia, all right, to sign the Declaration of Independence. And these guys were putting their lives on the line. They were risking their family lives. They were risking all their property. Because think about it. If you are breaking up from a king, like you're taking this huge risk, like, hey, King George III, we no longer are friends. This isn't happening, right? And the king's going to sit back like, oh, yeah, sure, no problem. Yeah, right. He's going to kill you. He's going to kill your family. He's going to destroy everything that you own and anybody that you know. So this was a huge risk that these guys were taking. So what did this document say? It begins with the introduction, when in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them. Like, hey, we're breaking up. It's time we have this political tie and it needs to be separated. Right? So, which have connected them with another to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the law of nature and nature's God entitled them. Like, hey, you're violating the laws of nature. Where have we seen that before? John Locke. So, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. So, hey, we're breaking up. Here's why we're breaking up. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. They are endowed with their creators with certain unalienable rights. And among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Notice we've taken John Locke's words, his ideas, and we spun them, right, to say pursuit of happiness. Because property meant a whole lot of different things, especially with the issue of slavery going on. So they changed that property to the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, government are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. So they are getting their power from the people, popular sovereignty. This is where this term comes into play. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it. So basically, hey, if you're infringing upon our rights, it is our job to get rid of you and to establish a new one. Where it says right here, and institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form. Yada, 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 ba-da-da-da, So, when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably, wrong button. Invariably, the same object advances is designed to reduce them under absolute despotism. It is their right, their duty to throw off such government and provide new guards. Right? All these ideas coming right out of the Enlightenment, and you can see the impact they have. Right? So, hey, we're breaking up. Huge thing. And as you know, we fight the Revolutionary War, long and the short of it. We win, yay us, and now we got to establish a new government. and that's what's going to lead us into our next lesson. So hopefully we're going to delve deeper into the Declaration of Independence here shortly. So, all right, and then we got to set up a government. So this is where we're going to start getting into the Articles of Confederation, and then we got to look at the Constitution, and then again, like I said, we're going to look at other documents along the way as we get further and further into this. All right, hopefully you guys have a good day. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.